Hello all, hope you're having a great day today. Today we're talking about human resources. This is chapter 7. So the most important resource of any organization is its people. It's human resources. You need to understand the HR laws and regulations, the rules of the game to be a successful sport manager. HR managers need to recruit and select talented employees and players to win games. They also need good managers and coaches to train and develop the human resources. In addition, they need to evaluate the HR performance, retain top talent, and possibly engage in union negotiations. You may also consider HR sport management as a sport management career. So stinking hard. Why? Every team and organization is only as good as its players and workers. People are the most valuable resource because they give the team a competitive advantage to beat the competition. Therefore, how you and the organization manage its people will determine its success and failure. Thus, the key driver of business success is HR management. Practices of hiring and developing great people to continuously increase productivity, which is challenging. Human resource management, also known as staffing, consists of planning, attracting, developing, and retaining employees. Figure 7.1 that you see here gives an overview of this four-part process. The arrows indicate how the parts mesh to create a systems effect. One of the four major functional departments in organizations, the HR department, is a staff department that advises all the other departments and helps them to manage employees. Larger companies tend to have a separate HR department that plans HR practices for the entire organization. Many firms, especially small businesses, outsource most of their parts of their HR management functions, such as payroll and benefits. HR managers are responsible for developing HR practices and systems. So what you see here with human resource planning, you have strategic human resource planning and job analysis. We'll talk about those here in just a moment. And then attracting, which consists of recruiting and selecting employees. Then you've got to develop your employees through orientation and training and development and performance appraisals. And then retaining employees. That requires compensation, health and safety, and oftentimes it requires labor relations and things we don't like to talk about, as in termination and outplacement. All organizations have to conduct business in accordance with the law. It is the job of the HR department to ensure that everyone in the organization complies with the law. The laws tell organizations what they must and must not do. Recall the importance of Title IX, which requires equality for females in sport in the United States. You are not legally allowed to discriminate and hire, promote, or fire whomever you want. Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits employment discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, and national origin. Just as all athletes should be treated fairly and justly, so should all employees. The legal environment affects HR practices in significant ways, so understand HR law is important to sport management. As a manager, you will most likely be involved in hiring employees. If you break the law, you and your organization can get into legal trouble and end up in court. You can even go to jail. This section teaches you the basics of equal employment opportunity law and what you can and can't ask candidates during employment recruiting. The Equal Employment Opportunity Act, or EEO, a 1972 amendment to the U.S. Civil Rights Act of 1964, prohibits discrimination in the workplace and applies to virtually all private and public organizations in the United States with 15 or more employees. Who is considered to be a minority by the EEO? Just about anyone who is not a white male, not of European heritage, or not adequately educated. Thus, in the United States, Hispanics, Asians, African Americans, American Indians, and Alaskan Natives are minorities. Women are not a minority in some occupations, such as nursing and teaching. They are a majority, but they also get protection. The EEO also protects disadvantaged young people, disabled workers with the Americans with Disabilities Act, and people over age 40, or the Age Discrimination in Employment Act. In addition to federal EEO laws that you must obey, all 50 U.S. states have additional laws. Some cities have additional laws such as minimum wage acts or laws that vary from place to place. There are far too many differences to discuss here, but if you are an HR management specialist, you need to know the laws because ignorance of the law is not a legal defense in court. We'll discuss compensation, pay and benefits in the last major section of the chapter. The EEO Commission, or EEOC, which is responsible for enforcing EEO mandates, has field offices across the United States. The U.S. General Counsel is responsible for conducting EEOC enforcement litigation under Title VII, the Equal Pay Act, the Age Discrimination in Employment Act, and the Americans with Disabilities Act. Violation of the anti-discrimination laws can lead to investigation by the EEOC or to class action or individual lawsuits. Courts find discrimination when selection criteria are vague, elusive, unstructured, undefined, or poorly conceived. As a manager, you should be familiar with your organization's EEOC, and if you are truly inclusive, you will most likely not be in violation of the law. No one in your organization, not recruiters, interviewers, other HR staff, or line managers can legally ask discriminatory questions, either on the application or during interviews. Here are a couple of rules to guide you. Be sure that every question you ask is job related. When developing questions, make sure you have a purpose for using the information. Ask only for information that you plan to use in the selection process. Ask all candidates the same general questions. Asking women and minorities different questions can lead to legal problems. The list under pre-employment inquiries summarizes U.S. laws concerning what you can ask for during the selection process, or lawful information you can use to disqualify candidates, and what you cannot ask for, or prohibited information you cannot ask to disqualify candidates. So you'll see here on this table, I would just recommend that you familiarize yourself with it, know exactly what you can and what you cannot ask in accordance to all of the different areas selected here. An organization can discriminate legally for a bona fide occupational qualification, or BFOQ, for the job. A BFOQ allows organizations to base their hiring decisions on otherwise discriminatory attributes that are reasonably necessary to the normal operation of a particular organization. For instance, being a practicing Jew is not a BFOQ for a fitness instructor at a Jewish community center. However, being a practicing Jew is a BFOQ for a rabbi and teacher of Jewish religion classes. If challenged, the organization must provide evidence that the BFOQ is needed to do the job. HR develops the HR practices to hire and manage good people for the entire organization. HR practices strategically guide employees as they carry out the mission, strategy, and objective of the firm. Strategic HR planning determines the number of people and the skills needed, but it does not specify how each job is to be performed. So, before you rush out in search of a new employee, you need to conduct a job analysis so that you and the job candidate know that what the job really is, and so that you have an accurate title for the position. Job design that we talked about in Chapter 5 is the process of developing and combining the tasks and activities that make up a particular job. Strategic human resource planning is the process of staffing the organization to meet its objectives. The job of the HR department is to provide people with the right skills at the right time to meet their goals. Strategic human resources management is important because it matches the HR practices with the strategy. If a company's strategy is growth, then employees will need to be hired. If the strategy is re-entrenchment, then there will be some layoffs. Hiring strategies in professional sport are important to the competitive balance between teams and revenue sharing. Job analysis is the process of determining what the position entails and the qualifications needed to staff the position. The job analysis is the basis for the job description and the job specifications. The job description identifies the tasks and responsibilities of a position. It should list the skills needed to perform the tasks. In other words, it identifies what employees do all day to earn their pay. Step is to determine job specifications. Job specifications identify the qualifications needed to staff a position to ensure that the candidate matches the job requirements. The job specifications thus identify the types of people needed. They answer the question, what competencies are important for performing the job? The process of planning and job analysis is an important first HR activity because it is your basis for the other 3 HR processes of attracting, developing, and retaining employees. If you don't understand the job, how can you select employees to perform it? How can you train them to do the job? How can you evaluate their performance? How do you know how much to pay them? The job analysis should be updated as the tasks performed and qualifications for performing them change with the internal and external environment. An essential part of job analysis is developing a realistic job preview, or RJP. The RJP provides the candidate with an accurate, objective understanding of the job. Some managers make the job sound better than it really is by describing the positive duties and not the negative ones. But new hires are often disappointed and quit, creating turnover problems. Research supports the idea that employees who believe they were given accurate descriptions are more satisfied and express less desire to change jobs than do those who believe they were not given an accurate job description. The RJP can lead to job satisfaction, which tends to improve performance. Recruiting is the process of attracting qualified candidates to apply for job openings. For an organization to fill an opening, possible candidates must be made aware that the organization is seeking employees. They must then be persuaded to apply for the jobs. Remember that recruiting is not about quantity, it's about attracting qualified candidates. You don't want to waste your time reviewing applications that don't meet your clear job specifications. To be an effective recruiter, you need to select the right recruiting source for each position. Enthusiasm to recruit a star player may result in improperly offering gifts, money, and benefits that can jeopardize their coaching career. Recruiting is conducting both internally and externally. List possible recruiting sources you'll see in 7.2. General managers must recruit players by selling unique factors to attract star athletes. GMs try to attract players by highlighting the nice weather, the large enthusiastic fan base, the opportunity to live in a large urban city, and so on. NCAA teams, including football teams, also need effective recruiting. The University of Texas, USC, Alabama, Clemson, Florida State, Notre Dame, Georgia, LSU, Miami, Ohio State, and Oklahoma are all known for having effective recruiting programs. When LeBron James of the Cleveland Cavaliers became a free agent in 2010, he became part of one of the most public recruitment processes in sport. James ultimately decided to play with the Miami Heat. James left his hometown in Cleveland to be part of Miami's plan to start him, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh, who was another free agent acquisition. LeBron returned to Cleveland in 2014 and won the 2016 NBA championship with the Cavaliers. However, LeBron became a Los Angeles Laker when he became a free agent again. And even superstars like the feeling of being recruited and starting over in new cities. Internal recruiting involves filling job openings with current employees or personal referrals. The NCAA Division III teams have been criticized for doing too much internal recruiting of their own graduates and have been encouraged to expand their job searches. Promotions from within, internal mobility Horizontal transfers are common today, as are vertical promotions. The current term for horizontal and vertical moves is internal mobility, meaning organizations post a job on a bulletin board, in company newsletters, and on their websites. Current employees can then apply or bid for the open position. When job openings are posted internally, employees may be encouraged to refer friends and relatives for the positions. Typically, employees refer only good candidates. This commonly used recruitment tool is based on networking, and more people get jobs through networking than all other methods combined. It's not what you know, but who you know, right? I don't necessarily believe that. I really believe it's both. It's what you know and who you know. However, the U.S. government has stated that this referral method is not acceptable when current employees are predominantly white or male, because it tends to perpetuate the present non-diversified composition of the workforce, which can result in discrimination. Sometimes good candidates come to the organization cold, without an appointment, and ask for a job. However, professionals tend to send resumes and cover letters requesting an interview, which is good career advice. Educational and other institutions. Organizations recruit at high schools, vocational and technical schools, and colleges. Many schools offer career planning and placement services to aid students and potential employers take advantage of their career center. Educational institutions are good places to recruit people without prior experience. In addition to schools, professional associations, career conferences, and trade and job fairs are also used to recruit. Some professional and trade career services so that employers and applicants can hold job interviews. There are three major types of agencies. Temporary agencies like Kelly Services provide part or full-time help for limited periods of time. They are useful for replacing employees who are out briefly or for supplementing the regular workforce during busy periods like game day operations, selling tickets, admitting and seating fans, and providing security. Public agencies are government employment services in the United States that provide job candidates to employers at no or very low direct cost. Private employment agencies charge a fee for their services. Agencies are good for recruiting people with experience. Executive recruiters are often referred to as headhunters. They specialize in recruiting managers or those with high-level technical skills who are hard to recruit because they usually have a job. Headhunters tend to charge the employer a large fee. The advertising in the internet. It is important to use the appropriate media source to reach qualified candidates. A simple help wanted sign in the window may be appropriate for some positions, but newspaper and radio ads will reach a larger audience. Professional and trade magazines, or print and online, are more suitable for specific skill sets. Some companies use direct mail and email to recruit professional and trade members. Technology is changing how organizations recruit and select employees. Employers now routinely advertise on the internet. Numerous websites match applicants and job opportunities. Some good general websites for college students seeking career advice, part-time jobs, internships, and entry-level positions. So here you can see that internal sources on the left side are promoting from within, employee referrals and previous applicants. External sources on the right side are walk-ins, educational institutions, agencies, and advertising. That is all we have for today. I look forward to talking with you again. We will pick up part 2 in the next session. Have a great day.